What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Social City Podcast. I'm your host at Old School Omar. Here is my lovely and beautiful co-host, my wife, at Abby Cherie Foster. Say what's up to the people, boo.
What up, people?
On today's episode, we're going to be chatting about how to grow and connect in 2025. We got our special guest, Austin Boyd from Alive Print Shop, and my man's Richard Zhao, the Zhao Live. Say what's up to the people, fellas.
What's up?
What's up, guys?
Both of these guys
Excited to be here.
are my brothers in Christ. But first, we got to give a shout out to the sponsor, Laser Skin Lounge, y'all. We want to give a special shout out to our amazing sponsor, Laser Skin Lounge in Las Vegas. Locally owned and operated, Laser Skin Lounge is dedicated to helping you achieve your best skin with a range of cutting-edge services, including laser hair removal, hydrofacials, chemical peels, tattoo removal, and the innovative PicoSure Pro Laser Facials, designed to rejuvenate your skin at the deepest level. Conveniently located in Centennial Hills, Laser Skin Lounge believes that your skin matters, and they're here to help you look and feel your best. Whether you're looking to smooth out your skin tone, erase unwanted hair, or reduce the appearance of tattoos, their team of experts is ready to assist with tailored treatments to meet your unique skincare needs. Visit Laser Skin Lounge today and experience the difference. Check them out on Instagram, y'all. Laser Skin Lounge. Thank you, Austin, for sponsoring another episode. Dude, tell us about Laser Skin Lounge real quick. How you guys doing? How long you guys been open for now?
Man, we just finished our third month. We're about 90 days in.
Hey,
it's been exciting. We've been in our first business for 16 years, and my wife has been the biggest supporter, since day one. And so she's been working on this idea like in top secret the last 3 years. And, we went in and we just decided earlier this year, like, let's go for it, So she's gone all out. And to just see what she's built, since April we signed our lease, and then just to see her dive in, she is such an expert in this space. And it all kind of comes back to as a child, her mom was really big about skin and didn't let her wear makeup, all these things she thought she was missing out on growing up. She realized, like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad I took care of my skin. And if you know, Korean skincare is next level. Having a Korean mom does not hurt, So she's so passionate about it. It's incredible to see this team they've built, all the people over there. I get guinea pigged all the time, and I love it.
I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, it's a great time.
I love it, man. Congrats to you guys.
I gotta say, I didn't know that we were being sponsored by Laser Skin Lounge, because either way, I was gonna say something. Because my skin, if we look at it, if it looks good, it's because of the Pico facial.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
See,
there you go.
Testimonial.
I had acne scarring my whole life. My mom told me that acne was bugs in my skin. So I'm like, I don't want bugs in my skin. So my whole life was this.
Wow.
And as an adult, I'm like, what did I do? So the Pico facials have been breaking it up, and the collagen's been filling in.
Dude, that's amazing.
So if it looks good, it's because of the Pico facial. If it doesn't look good,
I was thinking you look extra handsome.
Yeah, for sure. I was thinking you had a
glowing.
glow.
Yeah,
you
he's
definitely had a
we did
glow.
not pay him for that testimonial either.
Totally. Genuine testimony right there.
There you go.
So you guys aren't new to us, but you're new to the podcast. So we have 3 questions just to kind of get an icebreaker and get to know you guys better. Number 1 is you're going to tell everyone your name. Number 2, something cool on your bucket list. And 3, your favorite Disney classic movie. 3, 2, 1, go.
My name's Austin Boyd.
What up,
Hi,
Austin Boyd?
What's up?
Excited to be here today. Thank you. Man, on my bucket list, one of the things I really, really want to do is, take my family to unique places.
Yeah.
So we've gone to a few places, but one of the places we absolutely have to go is Korea.
Yeah, for sure.
My wife's family's from Korea, but she was born in Las Vegas, so she's never been.
Wow.
And we had flights booked, ready to go, and then 2 weeks later, COVID shut it down.
Oh
so
my
that is
gosh.
on our bucket list, and it's been perfect. Now our kids are older, so we would love to go, visit Korea, hop over to Japan, spend a few weeks there.
Real
We're
quick,
so
that's on our
excited.
bucket list too.
Yeah, it's Korea.
Most people don't know we have a sister gym in Korea. Well,
Really?
There's 3 of them now. There's a Fit Force Korea.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
Fit Force.
Yeah.
Worldwide.
So we're looking to go out there. I don't know. What do we got? 2-year goal to get out to
I
Korea.
know, FFUKW Korea
We got to
style.
all do it together.
We could.
Yes.
And then we can do the follow-up podcast from Seoul.
Totally.
Yeah,
That'd be
it's
so
going to be
cool.
awesome.
I
Korea
love that.
is going down. And then movie.
Favorite Disney movie.
I would have said something else, but after having a daughter, man, it changed everything. So we were in the Frozen season for a long time. That was really big. But now my kids are starting to, check all the other ones out.
Yeah.
And so we're going to probably have to put like Pocahontas on there.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
yeah,
a good
I love
one.
Pocahontas.
It
is a good
color
one.
of the wind.
Yeah.
You
hits.
I'm part of the Cherokee Nation also, so it hits right there in my heart.
I love that one. 3, 2, 1, action.
Oh, that's me. Hey guys, I'm Richard Zhao.
What up, Richard Zhao?
Richard
What's
Zhao.
up? Thanks for having me. Grateful to be here. Honored to be amongst you guys. Just grateful to be in a room of people who are just so awesome at life and moving forward and
Thank you.
feeling lifted.
Yeah.
Bucket list. I like to think big picture. I have to go after Austin.
Yeah, give it
got
to
such
us.
a cool life, man. But on my bucket list, I would love, because it's a list of things I want to do before I die, right? Before I kick the bucket. I want my kids to stay friends with me. I want my kids to stay in my life, like how you guys spend so much time with your kids. I love that. I love seeing those posts,
Yeah,
right? But I want like when
that.
they're in their teens, not to follow the typical. I don't want to
Hang out with other people.
leave dad alone, leave me alone in my room. I
Yeah.
want them to want to hang out with us, and that forces us to build a life now that
I love that.
right wants
Yeah.
to be with us.
Yeah.
Oh,
And,
it's so
That's
good.
Really
It's
good.
going
That's
deep.
really good.
it's more long term.
Yeah.
And a favorite Disney movie would have to be Hercules.
Oh, that's a good. That's kind of
Hercules.
like an underrated one. I
It
feel like
is.
the
Big
music in that
time.
one's
We don't
good.
hear Hercules too often.
I know.
Yeah, that's
because it's
good.
not a princess.
I barely spoke English when I first watched it. I'm from China. And just watching like some skinny kid, it's like the Captain America
Yeah.
storyline, right?
Yeah.
And just always wanted to be better and always being a skinny kid and wanting to be bigger.
I love that.
We're going to start calling you Chinese Hercules now.
Deeper
Hercules.
meanings to everything.
Seriously.
Let's get into today's episode. Did you know that according to a study by the Harvard Business Review that 85% of jobs are filled through networking, and that networking accounts for 70 to 80% of new business opportunities? The majority of people who advance in their careers do so through personal connections rather than cold applications. You've got a little bit of a story
Yeah, I do.
on that. Tell them about your career life.
Well,
and how-
we kind of talked about this a little bit because O's background was military right out of high school, and then entrepreneurship at the same time as working for 24-hour fitness. But he was kind of always in the mindset of working for someone else, where my mindset was always working for someone. Or you were, working for yourself, and I was more in the mindset of working for someone else. But other than the job I applied for to be a lifeguard at 16, I've never applied for a job. Like I've always had a really, really deep network. I think just from growing up here and then going to LVA downtown and the network that led to, going to UNLV, working at Red Bull like as a part-timer and whatnot, my network was pretty deep. And so right out of college, I was asked to apply. My manager came to me and said, hey, I would really like for you to apply for this position. And then from there, that kind of steamrolled. I was at Red Bull for almost 10 years. And then from there, I went into 3 different startups in 3 different fields. But each time it was from a phone call that was like, hey, I know what your skill set is. I know who you are. I know your character. And I would really like an opportunity to have you on my team.
Yeah, just headhunted from
Yeah.
one company to another.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
People were like, hey, if we can get Avi on our team,
I don't know if it was
crush
that,
it.
but yeah,
Come
I mean,
on.
but it was it was something I don't think I realized until later. Where I was like, when I had lost my job and everything had kind of fallen apart, and I was like starting to think about putting a resume together. I pulled up my resume and I was like, oh my gosh, like it hadn't been updated. I don't know. I think I like had one on the back burner, like, and when I was at Red Bull, because I always thought you were supposed to have, an update of like projects you've done. So I was updating as I went, but I don't think I ever had even thought about it until that point. And I was like, oh wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize like that was the power of my network at the time, to just get a phone call and like, hey, are you looking for something?
Never having to interview for a job.
Well, I mean, I
in your adult
interviewed.
career.
I still interviewed,
Of course,
but I
fill
was,
out an application.
yeah.
You know?
Never cold called a job, I should say.
Yeah. That's amazing, boo.
Yeah.
So, quick backstory. I met Richard maybe 6 to 8 months ago. And Richard was one of the first guys that I met that asked me what he could do to help me. Like, how could he be of service? And he just had the smile on his face that he has now. And I was like, I've never been asked that before. Like, what can I do to help serve you? Richard, how did you get into networking, and why do you think it's so valuable and important?
Well, thank you. Thank you for recognizing that.
Yeah.
I think we should all do that for each other. Networking began very awkwardly some skinny, nerdy kid, still pretty skinny, still pretty nerdy, but just awkward. Never had social interactions. I can interact with formulas and algebra really well, but people interaction wasn't something I practiced a lot. And so as I started becoming an entrepreneur and started learning, like, okay, I can be good at the books, but what's more important, what I want out of life requires me to connect with people.
Wow.
And so just being awkward, not knowing how to read the room, read the situations. I'm pretty direct at times, and you'll hear from my Chinese jokes, like it'll just come out. Right? I don't know how to hold it back. And then what I found in the beginning was like, why are people distancing themselves? And I realized, well, I should probably be a little bit more polished. And now, 14 years into the journey, it's like, I could just say what I want to say, and I'd like to surround myself with people who are my mentalities, and so the jokes hit home a little bit better. But networking's been. I was fortunate to have a mentor who not only had mastered networking, but mastered how to teach networking, and a lot of it wasn't sitting there and listening to him. A lot of it was learning a little bit and then going and applying a lot right away, and just one step and just saying hi to 100 people in a day and reporting back and just having that feedback. And this person ignored me, that person said this way, and just having that back and forth feedback was so crucial for me, because it wasn't just wondering what was going to happen, but someone I trusted to say, oh yeah, you're on track. Oh, 100 people ignored you. You're on track. You're doing great.
Got it.
So is it like the repetitions of flexing that muscle for you then, if you would say that, like, would you consider yourself an introvert more so, or is it just more like your comfortability approaching people, like in that level of confidence? And my follow-up question would be, what would be your piece of advice for someone that's like, okay, like, I know I need to connect, I know I need to network, but I don't feel like that's my personality type, right? Like a lot of times we get stuck in a little bit of a box of who I am or who I am not, or what I can do or what I cannot. What would be your piece of advice for someone like that?
Thank you. That's a great question. Well, personality types are this, I think it's a newer thing that we're learning, right? Before, we were just all human beings interacting with each other. Now there's personality types. And I don't think there's anything wrong with identifying with one, but it limits us if we play with the role. So I am an extreme introvert. Every test that I can take measures me as 100% introvert. And so then when people meet me, they go, I don't believe that for a second. Well, I had a lot of practice. But I still have to recharge like an introvert. So like after this, I'm just going to go like close my eyes for 5 minutes, right? But for someone who's getting going, it's don't play the role. Don't think, oh, I'm an extrovert, so I'm automatically good at networking. Right? Austin happens to be an extrovert who is good at networking, but you also had to practice.
100%.
But do you think every one of us has a little like introvert and extrovert
I
in
love
us? Like
being alone.
Pending your pending your environment and your situation. Like I'm sure like coming to somewhere new where you don't know anyone, we would all identify as introverts. Like, oh yeah,
absolutely.
I don't really know anyone here. I'm kind of quiet. But if I walk into Austin's office where he's the boss, it's like, you told me you were an introvert, bro. Like you are leading and commanding and you're in charge of a group of people in this multi-million-dollar business. There's no way you're an introvert.
You're an introvert.
Right? Depending on...
I don't know.
Okay.
But I'll say, from someone who knew Richard in high school, Richard today is not the same human being that he was when I met him at school. We checked in kind of with each other through the years. And you know, when you see someone every day, you don't really notice the small things. But when you see someone 3-5 years down the road, I mean, last time I ran into you last year, I stopped and I was like, this guy is like glowing. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's like watching, Goku go Super Saiyan 2. It's like, it's not the same, it's not the same person, And so, watching Richard is one of the few people that I've seen like just put the work in.
Yeah.
Because I think he wanted the result more than he cared about how uncomfortable it made him feel. And I think that's the real goal with networking is why would you put yourself out there if you don't want to? You've got to identify that there is something at the end of the challenge, something on the other way to the doorway, and it's worth, if you have to kick the door in or open the door or pick the lock or however you have to justify being outgoing and meeting people, you've got to realize that there's something on the other end, which is friendship and love and community and opportunity and whatever it takes, Sometimes people don't push through that door until they get so desperate they physically have to claw and kick and go through that door. Yeah. But it's so worth it.
Well, I also think that people either wait till they're desperate, or I think because we live in this world that's so seemingly connected through social, they feel connected. It's like, well, I am really well connected. I have 12,000. I follow 12,000 people on TikTok. I have 2,500 followers. I
we're
have this
synthetically connected.
Totally. And it's very surface driven, and it's very it's consuming more than it is producing anything, right? And I think it does lead to this hamstringing effect of people assuming that it's like, well, I am well connected and I am networking. I'm putting my business on my social, and isn't that networking? I have people that are following, and missing the art of connection.
Yeah,
and
that's
the
good.
art of networking. And I think something that I got to witness at your guys' event when you guys did the Grow and Connect event was just watching how each one of you each had that gift of finding a connection point with people. And it's not just about checking a box of having people in the room, people handing out business cards, and a platform. It's like, really, how do you really drive connection amongst people? Like, same thing. It's like, you can have a lot of followers. Are you connecting with them? You're not really networking on that platform. And I think it's something each of you do very, very well in your space.
Oh, thanks, Boo.
Thank you.
Austin, tell us a story about one of your most powerful network opportunities that has allowed for growth, either personally or in your business.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think me and Richard have like the most opposite experience growing up. Because I'm just thinking about it, Richard. I'm like, Richard had to just get in there and put the work. I was kind of like born into it. Like, you know, my parents are heavily involved in church, which you know, you guys, when you grow up in church, you're seeing people all the time, you know, watching my dad public speak, all that kind of stuff. And then it was kind of like, hey, we're going to, you know, if you're a pastor's kid, we're going to find something for you to do. You know, you're going to be handing cards out when people walk in. I ran the projector back when it was, you know, transparencies.
My gosh, how funny.
And now a projector could just be there. Back in the day, you have to stand in the front of the church and flip the transparency, and you have a heart attack when you put it on backwards, and everybody sees reverse text. Quan, you know what I'm talking about. So, I mean, it's felt kind of normal growing up. I think I had the opportunity to just make these small bite-sized pieces kind of by osmosis, you know, getting to connect. But at the same time, you kind of can have bubbles. You can have the church, you know, community, and then you can have your business community and your personal, and they can turn into different bubbles, you know, if you allow them to be. But I would say one of the things, like in the last 2 years, that was a huge opportunity was I started telling my wife, I need to just connect with more people. I'm working so hard, head down in my business for 10, 12 years, but I didn't feel like my network was growing. And I kept meeting people that I would learn something from them. And I'm like, oh my goodness, if I would have learned that 2 years ago, that would have saved me so much time and energy. And so I just decided to start putting myself out there. And one of the things I did was I joined a car club, which was really fun. But the thing which was interesting is the first time you show up to a group of people you don't know, it feels like the first day of school.
Yeah.
I show up, you know, my hands are in my pocket. I'm looking around, checking my phone. Like, there's nothing on there. You know,
He's an introvert.
Yeah, I'm checking it, and I'm watching this happen. And luckily, I met some incredible people. But what clicked in my mind was we get together once a month. The next month, people are there. I see new people show up, and they're getting out of their cars and they're walking, and I see that look on them that I have. And then I realized that they don't know if I've been a part of this group for a month or 10 years.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just go for the people that have that feeling I have. So I went out of my way, was like meeting people, you know, everything. Oh, you guys are new. So glad to join us. I just joined last week, you know? And so now I did that. And all of a sudden I saw that ease come over them, and I was like, oh, I know how that feels.
Yes.
I know how that feels. And so that's why, as uncomfortable as it makes me at church or at work or, you know, in a coffee shop or whatever, I just break the ice because I know they probably feel the same, if not more uncomfortable than me.
Yeah.
So now I do that all the time. And you know, you look at someone, especially, you know, if they look like they don't want to talk to you. You have no idea what's going on in their mind.
So true.
They may really, really be like, man, I wish I could connect, but I don't know. Like, for some reason, your brain goes to this place where you think you're from another planet and everybody else is in a group but you.
Yeah,
And you
it's so
realize we
true.
all go through the same thoughts, same things. And if you can just connect on something you like, something you're uncomfortable about, anything, you realize we're all in it. Like, we're all living very, very similar emotional lives. And connecting is really the thing that opens up and frees opportunity and emotion and everything. So I absolutely love it.
That's so good, man. I love that. It was like you guys invited me to the Grow and Connect event, and I was just asking, I'm like, what do I have to offer? Should I go to this? Like, is it going to be worth it? Is there going to be any value? Will I be able to provide any value to people? And my wife was one that like pushed me to go. Like, you need to go. Like, you got invited. Like, you should show up. Like, you are worthy and you do have value. You've been in business for this long. Like, just go and see what you can take away from it. And I'm so grateful that she pushed me to go, because like you said, we all have imposter syndrome and certain thoughts that we go through to where we feel like, oh, like, do I belong here? That first day of school is a great way to put it.
Oh
like,
my gosh.
Because we've
I'm
all
so
had a first day
nervous.
of school.
Yeah.
Or it's like
We've
first
all-
day of school when none of your friends are in your class.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or,
You know what I
or when you
mean?
go from middle school to high school.
Yes,
When you go
and you
from
know
elementary
one.
to middle school,
Yeah.
that gap.
Yes.
So then I walk in and it's like there was a guy from high school there that runs a breakdancing studio. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh man, good to see you, man. Like it's awesome to be in the room and to be able to connect. It's like you let the wall down, you break the ice with one person, and then you meet someone else. And then I was meeting people from the print shop where
Yeah.
it's like, I only talked to you on email. Now, I'm sorry for being mean on email or whatever it was. Sorry for not getting back to you. I swear
Everybody
I'm a
came
good
back and
person.
they're like, we met Omar. He's so great. And I'm like, yeah, that's why I love him. He's great.
But yeah, it goes back to like how you connect on like social media
Yeah.
or through a synthetic platform. But to make that connection face to face has so much power in it. But to be there in the room and to see other entrepreneurs and what they struggle with and to hear the other people tell their stories, it just breaks down this wall when people are being vulnerable that gives you permission to do the same. When you think you're in it alone and whatever obstacle you're facing, you're like, wait, we're all similar. We all feel
Absolutely.
and experience the same emotions. Like, let's just break these walls down and grow together. So to be an attendee at the first Grow and Connect event and then to host the second Grow and Connect event was just like a huge shift for me. Like, I'm in the room. This is so cool.
I know.
Austin hit me up and he's like, hey, do you know of a space that we could host that's centrally located? And I'm like, I sent you some spaces downtown. And then you're like, the budget's kind of tight. I don't know if we want to rent that space out. And I was like, we have a gym. I mean, I don't know. We can like try to do it here. And we ended up hosting it. And it was an amazing event.
It was awesome.
We had such amazing feedback. So just the shift from attending an event to not having any kind of expectation to being now basically a part of your guys'.
And I think
Grow
it's
and
more
Connect
than
that you
just like
created.
more than just attending an event. I think it's your perception about networking, right? Like you've been in business for 15 years and I came more from like the corporate side where was hustling and building the business. And it was one of those things where I don't think he ever saw the value of going to networking events. Like we had talked about it in the past and been invited to things, but it just felt like there was this gap between what that maybe represented in your mind and what the reality of what that event really was for you and that unlock moment. Because I think there are a lot of people, whatever business they're in, it feels like this very structured, old school, outdated kind of approach to growing your network in terms of whether it's like just relationship building. It doesn't always have to be for business, right? Like
Yeah,
networking
absolutely.
is
True.
networking is so much bigger than business, but sometimes dangling the carrot of, hey, this could increase your income earnings. This could increase your opportunity is the carrot that gets people to get uncomfortable in networking. But there's so much value in it. What do you want to learn?
Yeah.
You want to learn, you have a hobby you want to be better at. There's probably a club that does that. There's probably a network of people that you can learn from. Like you want to get deeper in your faith, join a Bible study. That's a form of networking.
Yeah.
You want to be better at running, join a run club. That's still networking. There's so much value in it. I think it just in our culture today feels like this very outdated, like I'm going to a networking event. I feel like that's something I remember my dad
True,
saying growing
true.
up,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And I love what you guys have done with Grow and Connect because I really do think it's brought this fresh breath of fresh air into what it means to go to a networking event. That's not just, I wrote my name on a tag, put it on and I handed out 10 business cards and I collected 10 and I left.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that,
Yeah.
like every
What
business
did you call
networking
it,
event-
Richard? You call it the networking club.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
it.
That
We
was
don't
like
want-
my idea behind it. Put your name on a name tag, go, like talk about your business. They
Yeah.
talk about theirs, and then you're like, deuces, peace out. Hopefully you get some sort of referrals. You know what I mean? Tell us a little bit about the idea of Grow and Connect into like executing.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, it really started as an idea that just kept me up at night. Like I just kept thinking, man, I need to do something. And it started because the last few years I started going to events more and getting outside of my box and man, having that first day of school about 100 times, just
Yeah.
going. And I'd go to big events and small events and here and there. And I was just taking pieces from them, and then I kind of realized, I said, some of these events they're 2,000-3,000 people. They're so big. The best part of the event was when I drink coffee with someone at a break or this or that. So that's why I was like, it would be great if we got together with less than 50 people, 75 people, and spent more time connecting, maybe a little bit less time in seminars. That way it's about connecting.
Yeah.
And it kind of out of nowhere, there was a new business that came to town. They had a nice little warehouse, and they reached out to me and they said, hey, you're an existing business owner. We have this great space. We want to let people know that we're new in here. We'll let you use our space for free if you just bring people. And I'm like, man, now I have to do it.
Sure.
I liked the idea of like not actually having to do it.
Yeah,
it just
when you
sounds
have a burden on your heart, but not the...
Exactly. It was a great mental exercise. I'm like, I got to do it, like free space, everything. And so we just got a bunch of people together, and it just happened is I've been thinking about, like, I couldn't sleep at night. Like I kept waking up with this on my mind. And I was praying. I'm like, God, I don't really know what this means. And then they asked me, and then the next day I take my wife to dinner for our anniversary. We come down, we valet our car. We're walking to valet, and I look, and my friend from high school, Richard's standing there in valet. And I'm like, dude, where are you guys coming? He came from the restaurant. I tried to get in, but I couldn't get reservations. I'm like, bro, where did you guys come from?
His network.
He networked this way.
He has connections. I didn't know that was a thing. I just looked and there was no reservations. And so, but we start talking. And the crazy thing about Richard is I guess I didn't quite realize the path, the journey he was on, because I mentioned this to him. And if you've ever seen that movie Yes Man with Jim Carrey, Richard is like living a yes man life. I tell him, he goes, yes, I'm in. I'm like, dude, I don't even know what it is. I don't care. I'm in. I'm in. I'm like, you're in? I don't even know if I'm in. Like, let's go. And so he gets so excited. He's like, we have to do this. And, we did the first one. We put it all together. I mean, just halfway winging it, but also just knowing that if we just get people in a room together, and if we get a bunch of givers and not takers in a room, and we make this about the people just interacting and getting to know each other instead of like, we call them like, business ninjas that are throwing their ninja stars, their cards, it's like, look, we're not trying to throw business cards at you, really want nothing out of you. And I even told them, hey, I've gone to some networking events where there's a big pitch at the end and they're trying to sell you this expensive package or training. I said, let's have no pitch. Our pitch is no pitch. We just want to get people in a room together, let them connect, give them a little opportunity to kind of talk about their business, but it's more than your business. It's who are you?
Yeah.
That's why after we did the second event and Omar came in, Omar, you had some great questions when we did some Q&A. And then in the second one, I think with you being a part of it, it just went even more of like, we just want to connect with people. We've all gone through the dark nights and felt alone. And if we come at business instead of like, there's an opportunity to make a sale, but instead I can be connected to other people that have gone through the up and down, and we can relate on that part and we can help each other. Whose business would not grow if you had a room full of 80 people that became your friend that said, I'm going to send any referral I can think of to you?
Yeah,
Automatic growth, but the growth is the side effect of building great relationship. And that was really the inspiration for me that helped me out.
That's the focus. Well, I really said yes because the valet pulled up a McLaren. There was nobody around. And then I was like, that's your McLaren. So that's why I said yes. Okay.
You clearly know what
They
you're
were
doing
giving
here.
them away.
They were giving them away.
I actually love things that you guys were saying because every answer we've answered with, we made it about the other people. That's like the common theme, right? When you said, it shocked me. It fascinates me that you said, I didn't know if I belonged. I don't understand imposter syndrome, right? Because I think you guys are all the real deals, right? And so when you said that, like literally when I met you, you were radiating, and everyone around you you were magnetizing everyone around you. So I was like, oh, this guy's a natural networker. He's everywhere. And then to hear that from
making me
you,
blush.
it doesn't register in my head, right? It doesn't compute.
Yeah.
And so I just want you to know we knew you belonged. It just all made sense.
Yeah, for sure.
And not knowing the background behind that, but to answer the question that was first asked, right? What should, and we've been answering it, by the way, but to clearly state it, for someone who's trying to get into networking, what do? Well, you make it about other people. You make it about the new guy.
That's it.
The new guy that's walking in, not about you. How do I feel? And
So good.
When you walked in, you started looking for other people. But at first we wonder, like, what do I say? Where do I put my hands? When we make it about ourselves, if we stay in that zone, it's always going to be awkward.
Yeah.
When we start going like, how can I help you? Right? I didn't know that made an impact, but how can I help you?
Yeah.
And because I'm naturally introverted, if I think that way, it just gets me out of my head.
Yeah, you know what's funny is like when you asked that, I didn't know how to respond, to be honest. Like, what? I don't know. What could you do to help me? And it was like, oh, if you're in the Southwest area, I've got some friends over there. I've got some family who need to do this. Like, I can bring them to the gym. I can check out your social media and share a post. I can leave you a review after attending and being in your space to let people know how welcoming it is. So it got my wheels spinning on, again, just paying it forward.
Yeah.
So then I started doing that, like asking people, like, what can I do? Like, what can I do today to be of service to you and your business as an entrepreneur? You know? And I think like the social media has its flaws, but it also has its benefits of being able to share your friends' businesses posts and their stories and promote their business. Such an easy, simple thing that can happen so fast
So easy.
that we don't do, and we should do more of that.
Oh, I only use it to send funny stories to Austin.
The meme game is on another level.
I love that.
But you know, one of the things as I'm thinking about this, one of the kind of the driving factors and quotes in the back of my mind, I want to say it's a John C. Maxwell quote, and I know Richard has got it all memorized, so he'll probably help me. But he said something to the extent of, if you want to try to impress people, tell them all the big things that you did. He said, but if you want to try to help people, tell them all the things that you messed up.
Yeah.
And just
Oh,
be
so
clear
good.
and honest with it.
Yeah.
And that was kind of my main point when when we did the little keynote, is I told everyone, hey, like, me and you talked about it. I go, my wife had a car that the door handle was broken and she's 8 months pregnant and I couldn't afford the $200 to fix the door handle.
You
know,
became
like,
so relatable when you said that. Like everyone was right there with
Yeah,
you.
been
You
there.
pulled everyone in.
well, you know, everyone can look at where you are now and think like, oh,
He's driving a McLaren.
it's always
Look at
been
this
it's always been easy.
Must be
you know?
nice.
Must be nice.
Yeah, that's always it. Though.
That's
I mean,
always
it's
it.
always it. Like people see the end game and they don't know where you started. I would love for you to share this story because I didn't even know that story, and I felt like we've been working with you for 15 years, but it was always more on O's side. So like see the growth, but to not know it was at that point.
Oh yeah,
Share
yeah.
the story.
Well,
It's so
and
good.
that was the crazy thing too, is I had been in business, you know, started a business really young, and I thought that was going to fix everything, and then I thought there was this finish line that once you get through, it's just all your problems are going to go away, and you're going to hit this thing called success, whatever that is. And you know, we're building our business, and you know, we're even on our second location. We're not even on our first location anymore in the beginning. And like my wife's 8 months pregnant, you know, and her door handle breaks, and like, you know, she's telling me like they said it's $200 to fix, and you know we end up talking that the other door works, so she can unlock it, reach over, unlock it, and get around. You know, and then it's on me so much. I'm like thinking, I promised her when we married that I'd take care of her, and now I can't even fix her door handle, and she's waddling around because she, you know, her belly's big, baby's about to come out, and her door handle doesn't even work. You know, and this is summer in Vegas, and it broke me. I felt like, you know, I felt like a fraud. I felt like everything was falling apart. I thought having this business should fix everything.
Yeah.
But you know, in the end, what the beauty of it is, it really led me to kind of dial myself in and go through and be like, this isn't what I want. This isn't what I promised her. And I had to have a lot of, I spent a lot of time just writing goals and ideas and thoughts down, and going from being busy to trying to be effective. And that's kind of what changed, because you can be busy in your business and not get results at all. You can
So
just be busy.
true.
You can major on minor things instead of really identifying what moves the needle. And I mean, that was it, man. It was funny for us to go from 1 month, I can't afford her $200 door fix, to me just getting laser focused, and 9 months later buying her a new car.
Ah,
Like
so
that
cool.
was 3 months later. It was a 9 months.
90 days.
We had a baby in like 60 days. So it was just something where I'm like, man. And then it kind of dawned on me, I could have done that the whole time.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
it was, I don't know if it was a mental block. It was my own perception of, you know, you know, you want to do well, but there's fear of doing bad, but there's also fear of doing really well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
Like, what's going to happen if I kind of start breaking out of the pack? Like,
Yeah.
are people going to be okay? Are they going to be happy about it? Are they going to be angry about it? But you know, for me, I just had to get to such a dark place where I just felt like, man, I found out exactly what I don't want. I don't want my 8 month wife, you know, pregnant wife, not being able to literally have a door handle that functions. You know, like that's pathetic.
Yeah,
That's
for
really,
sure,
really pathetic.
man.
And so when I shared that, I felt like when I shared that too, the whole room shifted
Yep.
when we had that event, because it was like, oh, okay, you know, are we passing business cards? What are we doing? I was like, no, let's just get down to, you know, we're all here because we want to be great at life. I mean, who doesn't want to be successful in life? We want to be successful in our marriage, our family, with our kids, and our business.
Yeah, amen to that.
But we're all going to go through dark times. Imagine if we had friends that could help us.
I feel like you guys brought like soul back into networking. You know what I mean? Like business used to be this thing where it's like your handshake mattered, your
Yeah.
word mattered, your reputation mattered. And now we live like in a moment by moment thing, and I don't think people have the accountability that they do. And I think it's very surface, right? Like social media has its benefits, but it is definitely a little surfacey and a little highlighty. And I think what was so refreshing about the Grow and Connect event and platform was the fact that it's like really about the people, and it's really about, like you said, driving that relationship and connection, but it's deeper than driving business to your business. Like we're going to have the
100%.
B2B, but it's like you're going to walk out of there with like people that really have your back. And I think we live in a world now more than ever. People need to feel that in every arena, but especially if you're in sales, entrepreneurial spirit, anything that requires like a hustle and drive from within you, you need momentum at your back. And that comes from your community and from your network. So really hats off to you guys, because you guys are really, I think, setting a tone for something new and refreshing in a space that like has some old cobwebs, you know, and like could use some updating.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, that event, I got a little anxiety from it. I was a little stressed out. I was a little worried about it. Like,
You
we're
have
hosting
anxiety?
these people. At
too.
first, I thought it was like, we met up and like, let's do 50 people. Sounds good. We could fit 50 cars in the parking lot. Yeah, sounds good. And then next thing you know, someone, I don't know who did it, but someone, maybe Richard, opened the registration to like 75 or 80 people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, dude, is everyone going to fit? Like, are we going to have parking? What's going to happen? Is there going to be enough room for the people in the gym? You know, because we didn't have the chairs there set. We were just kind of like measuring it out as we go. And I was like, I prayed day and night about the event and just hope that it would be successful.
And
And
it
I'll
would help
never forget
people.
at the end when did we do a little Q&A at the end?
We
I don't
did,
know.
yeah. We did that
Reverse
reverse
Q&A.
Q&A.
But when someone said like, this was one of the best networking events I've ever been to, I was like, wow, like we just did that. And then following that comment, someone said to us like, we can see you guys on the big stage in front of thousands of people. And I was just like, what? Like we just did that? That's all right. It was a successful event. Thank you, God. Like,
Yeah.
you know?
We got to put 1,000 people in your gym next time.
We need it.
need a
Well,
bigger
we're gonna
gym
we'll have a
space.
gym. Yeah, that'll be it.
So let's just recap
Yeah.
the last event and talk about like where we see Grow and Connect moving in the future.
Well, Avi, I love what you said, bringing soul back to networking, right? I think, as I recall, I do go to different networking events as well. And I hate to say this, but I meet a lot of people that I wouldn't want to spend personal time with.
Yeah.
that part.
What I love about Grow and Connect, as you're saying, I'm reflecting, like, I want to spend personal time with everyone I met.
Yeah.
Which meant I wasn't in a rush to close business right there, right then.
Absolutely.
Like, oh, we met, let's do business right now. Let's
Yeah.
negotiate right
Yeah.
now.
How am I going to benefit from this interaction?
It's not a
Like,
trade show. Yeah, it's
Right.
it's
So I want to stay friends. And so a lot of people I met from the first Grow and Connect, we had coffee.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't even care if we do business together. I just want to hang out. You're just good people.
Yeah.
People elevate each other, and iron sharpening iron.
Totally.
And so I think for future Grow and Connects, it's just people have been asking. I've never had people ask so much about an event. Everyone, when's the next one? When's the next one? And so I think we're just going to build up so much hype that it's because we've outlined what we want so clearly. There's standards and we have a vision for it. I think it's really just going to grow in itself, and it's going to allow people to connect on its own.
It's funny. The first two have been so good that it gives me anxiety to try to do another one, because I'm like, as much as I think we can be like, hey, we put on a good event, all the great things that happened, I don't think we can take credit for it. All we literally did was facilitate a room.
Yeah.
Right
Kind of
people.
set the environment. I think a lot of it was personally inviting great people. Like we're just like, hey, we would just want to fill a room with a bunch of givers, of people that are always looking to help other people. They're not trying to take, they're not trying to see what you can do for them. We just felt a great room, and then we kind of stand back and said, oh my gosh, this is fun. Let's just watch. We're just watching it happen. We're trying to do our best to make it a great environment, but I'm excited. One of the parts that in my mind I've been kind of working out, because as more and more people hear about it and get involved with it, I have people tell me, oh, we should charge for it, or we should do this and get it. And I was like, I'm okay if it costs me money every time, because like it's not. There's parts I go, oh, I'm sure this would be great for my business for doing it, but it really isn't about that. I really don't care about that at all. The relationships and the people, and gosh, one of the guys I met, like I met him before and I invited him from another event. He gave me a book, and I'm telling you, it's changed my life this year. And I'm like, I can't put a price tag on that. And so
Right.
there's
Give us a book. Give us a book.
Oh man, the book is called I hope I don't get this wrong. I want to say the 28 letters from Rockefeller.
Got it.
Rockefeller wrote his son these letters.
Okay.
And you go through each one and you're like, oh my goodness, this feels like it could have been wrote yesterday. And And I know a guy I just met at an event, came to our event, gave me a gift. I'm like, dude, what is this? This book is, I mean, it changed my whole perception about, we think about these old business guys of, I think they're kind of made out to look like these robber barons that were just, but the wisdom and advice in this book is incredible. And so I'm going through that. I'm like, dude, I needed that right at the time that it showed up. And so the feeling now is like, look, I guess there's a always idea of like, we should make it bigger and better and everything. But at the same time, what made the event so great was it wasn't monetized. There wasn't anything we're asking for
the
people.
ethos is at the front of the decision making of what you guys are doing, right? And it's like that's the filter of like, is this going to truly help people? Is this truly going to benefit our city and our community? Like I think sometimes we get so big in scope, and especially in business, right? Like you can think really big, which is great. Not realizing that sometimes the biggest impact that you can have can be in your backyard.
It's just being small is big.
Yes.
It really is. Because that's the goal. What if we get 2,000 people and everybody kind of just flows like a crowd and they don't connect?
Yeah,
and
they're just a bunch of numbers.
Yeah,
There's no names.
It'd be better to have 25 people that actually spend an hour with each other.
You're creating like a real ecosystem.
That's one thing I love about Austin is like after the last Grow and Connect, I realized like Austin's level of success isn't like through greed and like stinginess. It's like Austin is where he is today because he's a giver. He's given so much. And when you give, you grow.
Yeah.
Big time. And you be of service, and that allows you to grow. And God blesses you, not financially up front, but he blesses you with like friendships and opportunities. Exactly what we're talking about here. And I realized that I'm like, Austin is where he is because he's such a giver. I'll never forget when we went to breakfast and Austin was like, one of my big goals is to give away and donate $1 million. I think you said that. Number? Is that
100,000.
somewhere up there? 100, okay, 100,000.
No, he had said his next one is $1 million.
Andrew Pro, Chef Andrew just posted that his 2025 goal was to give $1 million. And I'm like, man, that's crazy, And it's just such a committing thing to hear.
That's one thing why I like Grow and Connect, because the idea is to kind of break off old business, mindset in a sense, because I grew up in church. You know what I mean? Like one of the most impactful things I always learned is like, man, you give God the 10%, you trust him, and there's people that debate on it. And I go, hey, I don't care if it's required or not. Tithing is not a requirement to me.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity.
Yeah.
And if you give like, I just imagine every time I give, it's like planting a little seed into a garden. And then you're like, because this idea kind of popped up, everyone wants the grass is greener on the other side. Like, oh, I want the grass. And then it dawned on me, I don't care about grass. I'd like to have a tree. You know what I mean? Like, grass seems so superficial. I'd rather have a forest.
Yeah.
Grass can take, you can pay someone to come put grass in your yard tomorrow. Tree's going to take time.
Yeah.
Forest is going to take a lifetime.
Tell
like I want to plant seeds throughout my life in relationships and friends, and that way, it grows into a forest. And you just imagine like a tree has, it has the canopies and the covers, and it automatically, just by a tree being there, provides so much things to the animals and the climate and the look. It changes everything that grass can't do that.
For sure.
Green
That's
grass
so good.
can't do
Tell
that.
him.
So
Tell him, Austin.
That's
It's
how
got
I think.
roots.
Pastor Austin in the
Pastor
house.
Austin in the
I
house.
think about
Coming
it
to
in
our
my
sermon.
mind.
The tree is
If you'll
taller
open
on
your
the other
Bible
side.
to
I love that.
Where's the transparency slides?
Oh, man.
I have dreams still about putting them on backwards, but everybody sees them.
I can only imagine
because
because I would mess up in math class. Like, they'd have you write on the overhead, and I still have PTSD from
has
that.
nightmares.
Oh man, think about Sunday service.
That's what I'm
250 people. I was 9. Why?
No.
I don't know. They just decided he can do it.
Let's go
kid.
ahead and move on to a classic segment, Obsession of the Week. What you got, boo? What's your obsession of the week?
I'm going to go with Founders Coffee.
Oh, wait.
And you
Shout
know
out
what's
to
funny?
Founders.
It's not even about the coffee. It's the packaging. I love their packaging. I love their cups.
Shout out to the cups.
Spent 15 years in beverage, so I'm a little geek for that kind of stuff. But we went through the drive-through, and I don't know if it's always been that or whatnot, but man, they got a good to-go cup.
Yeah, it's not like a standard Starbucks type
This
cup.
is
It's like
so
a little
good
bit of an
networking
oval.
because now I have to go try it.
Yeah, I'm just
this is
saying.
an example of what we
I'm
talked
just
about.
saying, so-
The personal referral is the most
Yeah.
important thing.
That's
I'm not
it.
gonna
That's what
lie. They
networking
handed the
is.
cup out the drive-through when I went there for the first time, and I was like, "Look at this! Thing. It
vibe.
feels so like sophisticated. It makes me feel sophisticated."
I've got to go try it.
Shout out to Founders.
Founders Coffee.
Let's
there you
go.
What you got, Austin? Obsession of the week.
Man, obsession of the week. I'm gonna go old school. My dad just gave me this this Bible study guide, and it was like from the 80s. It's called the Pentecostal Study Guide, and I'm obsessed.
I
Like,
saw you post it. Was that what you
I'm
posted the other day?
so
Yeah.
obsessed about it. I'm going through, and it's like, look, I've been born in church and everything my whole life, but to go through almost from a a college level class of going in the background and the context and all these different things. Like my desire, especially like I guess my long-term bucket list is like, I want to feel passionate about the Word of God today and when I'm 90. And it's like a whole, you know, I never want to open the book and me be stale or like feel lukewarm. And I'm going through these Bible studies and I'm like, it's like I'm learning this for the first time in Sunday school. Like it's hitting me. I'm excited. You know, I guess it's a one a day. I'm going through like 15 a day because they're one page, and I'm just devouring it, you know. And the cool thing, this is so cool. There might be some network marketing people that would love this, or people, is there's a guy named Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn's like an old school personal development guy. One of my favorites. I think some other people like that are big now have come from his stuff. His parents were pastors and wrote this in the 80s.
Oh, wow.
And so it was just so cool to connect with that. And because Jim Rohn, when someone gave me a CD of Jim Rohn in high school, that's what got the whole entrepreneurial thing going, was me listening to these lessons he would teach every day. It was kind of like a, just a whole guide of just little things. And for me, that just, you had a real person that was showing me. I was listening to every day, like, I'm going to try that. I'm going to try to get more from the day than get through the day, you know, just little things like that. And that was what helped me build my business. And now to look back, like, and that's one reason why I always loved his stuff, because there was always like a biblical undertone about it. And now I realize his parents were, writing Bible study guides, and it's like impacting my life hugely.
That's amazing.
One
I love it.
you're reading right now was written by his parents.
His parents put this Bible study guide together, and it's awesome.
Crazy.
That's really cool.
I'm
That's cool.
digging
I love
it.
Richard, what you got? Session of the week.
I'm obsessing about CRM.
Client retention management? Like,
Yeah. So I walk into an office. I'm expanding a couple medical offices, and I go into a skilled nursing facility, and I stand in front of him. I go, "Oh, what was the name of the person that I've met 5 times?" And I realized that months ago I'd said I'd start tracking, and it's like I can be good with people, but if I stare at you and I go, I can't say your name because I don't know it. It just, I want to be able to. So I tried ChatGPT last night. I was going at it. I literally spent like 6 hours plugging in all my notes into ChatGPT, and then at 11 p.m. it goes, "Oh, your memory's full." What? I'm not even halfway done yet.
Oh no!
So that wasn't viable. But I was up all night thinking about that too, right? Like obsessing. How do I track my relationships and really make the most out of it so I'm not the weak link? Yeah.
Seems like a business opportunity.
I think Tesla has this new thing they put in your brain. I think you might be the perfect person for this. I never knew who needed it now, but I think it's you.
Richard
I need it.
Zhao.
I think we're going to put that little thing in your
Sign
brain.
him up.
Yeah.
Elon.
Get connected to the internet.
Yeah, so obsession of the week. I love worship music. I'm so obsessed. There's so many good artists out there, and I just think it's amazing and great to like listen to music that moves you forward. I don't voluntarily listen to secular music. Like there's always just worship music playing, and you guys probably wouldn't guess that I would listen to an artist like this. But I don't know if you guys have heard of Josiah Queen. He's kind of like
sick.
Folky
Folk
kind of
rock.
Christian guy.
Very white music
sounds
there,
this
buddy.
stuff. Like I listen to music in the cold plunge, and this is one of his songs here.
I wanna know you, not just about you. I've been slowly burning down.
Anyways, people probably wouldn't guess that I listen to music like that, but it's been my
I
obsession
feel
of the
like
week.
you used to make fun of me for listening to music like that when we started dating. Like all my folk rock, he's like, "There's white people music." It's so funny to see like now you like slap some worship on it, and then
I've
now I
always
love
been
it.
like a musical guy. I think just from whatever childhood trauma, I would just go to my room and like find music that I could relate to because I didn't know like the words or to be able to express the emotions I was feeling. So I had this like deep rooted connection with music. So I wake up in the morning and I'm in the plunge at 4 a.m. and I play 3 minutes of this worship song. And it just kind of reinforces that like God is there and moving, and he's always been there for us. And the fact that our kids, like it's all they're exposed to really. Like they'll catch some secular music through like movies and
in the
shows,
gym.
but and in the gym,
Yeah.
we'll play normal music in the gym, but like there's so many different genres of Christian music out there now. There's there's
It's
amazing
good.
hip-hop
It's not like
artists.
it's definitely not like the corny like
Yeah.
90s Christian music. I feel like I grew up on.
I'm
My
like,
parents
this
tried to
is
turn me
so
on to. I was like,
groovy. You got Forrest Frank, you got Lecrae, you got Holvey as hip hop artists. You got there's anyways. I'm obsessed with Josiah Queen right now. Been listening to that song probably on repeat for 41 days in a row. Wow. And I'm gonna move on to something new here soon. Let's close out with some gratitude. What you got? What you grateful for?
I am just super grateful for good friends. Let's talk about networking, right? For the networking, last night we had a chance to take the kids to an early Christmas present to the Jabberwocky show.
Ooh.
So Uriah's like been into breakdancing. I spent 10 years at Red Bull. Like breakdancing has like a very special place in my heart too. And I'm super, super grateful because two of our friends hooked us up with some free tickets last night. We got to surprise the kids. We took them to a 9:30 show. So
We were out
if I'm looking a little puppy,
for
that's why,
sure.
y'all. It's woo. We don't stay out that late, but
Not at all.
It was just so cool. It was so cool to see like our kids' obsession with dance and art and
Music,
yeah,
all of it.
It was
Yeah.
just awesome. I'm super grateful for that and
I love
our
that.
network and the fact they thought of us when those tickets popped up. That
Yeah,
was
for
dope.
sure.
You guys have such great kids.
Dude,
Yeah,
they're.
thank
I
you.
mean, I'm not complaining. I'm obsessed.
Obsessed with them. What you got, Austin? What you grateful for, man?
Man, I'm gonna have to go for like just my family and health. Like,
love that.
you know, my son a few weeks ago just got a little surgery done, and just to watch him go through that. First, it's incredible to see how you know kids bounce back, and they're incredible. But man, I've just been thanking God ever since that everything went well.
Yeah.
There's a feeling you get like when they wheel him out and he's unconscious and he's hooked up to stuff and he's waking up. I was like, this is not where I thought I'd be, spending the end of November, but
Yeah.
everything went so incredibly well. And so we're just so grateful, it's kind of felt like, man, we've had things happen throughout the year, but in the end, like God's faithful. He's so good. So feeling very, very grateful about that.
I love that.
Oh,
you got, Rich?
I'm just gonna echo off of that right there, but just grateful for God. A lot of new things have been happening for us, and it's for the first time in my life, right? I'm still newer to faith, but I'm like, can we just make sure I'm on track? Mm-hmm. Like God, I'm doing these things are happening with new house, business pivoting, things growing, and I'm like, God, okay, just before I full force move into this, right? We're
Yeah.
moving into the house. I'm like, God, nothing's broken. Everything's like smoothly,
Yeah.
and we're getting extra bonuses, and thank you. I'm hoping that's the sign, and so I'm just grateful that we're on track with what He has planned for us, and grateful to be
So
walking on that
good.
path.
Oh, dude, that's
great.
it's a blessing. It's one of the scariest prayers that I pray, that I'm always like, God, if it's not for us, take it away, and take it away so fast. I prayed that prayer right before my last job fell apart, and it was like 3 days later, and I was like, okay, duly noted. Like, got it. Didn't know that it was going to happen that fast. But when you feel it clicking, you can't deny it. When you're walking in the will of God, you can feel it. When people don't know it, they're like, you look like a crazy person, and you're like, nah, it's because you just haven't felt this feeling. Like it is undeniable when you're in it. So
I just
that's
got chills when you said that.
oh, dude, it's a good thing. It's
It is a
blessings.
good thing. And I know we're speaking about networking, but this year specifically, I've been so grateful for the people that God has placed in my life. It's all blessings. I mean, to be in this podcast studio where we were guests on it 2-3 years ago,
while ago,
like
yeah.
like Quan got placed in our life, and then we had always wanted to do a podcast, and then like the networking of like, oh, like there's a studio, like Quan's in our life, and we're getting up on a year of being in the podcast studio, and to have you guys in our life, and like to have, I mean, I've known you for a while, but to have like Richard placed in my life, like you guys have both helped me grow. We've got an amazing church community. Like my wife, I've been praying for like-minded moms that resonate and are on the same page as her, and she's found community. There's another group of moms who homeschool, and they have a co-op now that happens every Thursday, and it's like, wow, the friends that are in our kids circle are all influential. They're kids that are in their faith, they're in the church. Like our kids don't leave that group with like foul language.
Yeah.
They don't leave and come home and say like, this kid was hitting me, this kid was rude, this kid was a bully. It's nothing but positive things. And I'm just so grateful for like all of the people in our surroundings that God has blessed us with this year.
Yeah, we've had a handful of new members too that come in that have brought
Yeah.
in, just ushered in such a beautiful energy into the gym. It's just been such a good season of new relationships.
Yeah, it's been an amazing year.
Yeah.
We're so excited for 2025.
When's the next Grow and Connect?
Stay tuned for Grow and Connect. We're shooting for Q1, maybe early February.
You guys even have them talking
February or so.
business talk Q1.
Yeah,
No,
Q1, you know.
No idea.
We're gonna pivot to Q1.
We dropped
Put a pin in it.
SQ5, Q1, put a pivot in it. Yeah, so thank you guys for joining the show. Thank you so much, Austin and Rich, for being on. It was an honor and pleasure having you guys. Thank you so much for sharing and dropping knowledge. We finish off every episode. We go hands in and we say,
I'm
Fit
in.
Force, you know woot. So Fit Force, you know woot. 3, 1, 2, 3.
Fit Force, you know woot.
Let's go.
You're made with a purpose on purpose. See ya.
Peace out.